let's get into the chessboard and tie some things together for you, because this mirrors our reality in a way, okay? Now the chessboard has the black and white board on it. That's the black puzzle and the white puzzle, all broken up to create the gray area that we live in. And this chessboard has the four corners that would represent the four rivers of Eden, that would represent the four heads of the mind, that would represent the four horsemen that help run the earth. These spiritual entities that all come together at the four corners of the earth. The corn, or the core in ears, okay? So, a circle of the earth, when looking down at it, right? The circle, the four corners of a circle is the middle, okay? So everything would meet at the middle. That's why the sun would revolve around the North Pole, or the middle of the earth, okay? And it gets its energy from there. So that ties into the four corners, okay? And the black and white board. And then the board is made out of wood, right? And it helps wood you, right? It helps give you the will to do the things in life, okay? This board, it's operated by two people outside of the board. The black Godhead and the white Godhead, okay? This Godhead makes a decision, and they make it together as a team playing the game, okay? When you're playing a game with somebody, you work in unison even though you don't know the player's next move, okay? You're still working together while you're not working together, all right? That's exactly how this duality in our matrix works, okay? Satan's doing one thing on his kings and queens and pawns, and Jesus is doing his thing on his kings and queens and pawns, all right? So this chessboard, it meets up at the top beyond the board of these two entities that are controlling the board, okay? That's the same as Lucifer being the Black Knight, controller of physical light and controller of spiritual darkness, and Jesus being the controller of spiritual light and physical darkness, okay? And that would be why we think of Lucifer as being ugly and evil looking and scary looking or whatever, right? Because Jesus is the king and controller of the physical darkness. So he makes us think of what Lucifer would look like to help us have fear from it, to push us to him, okay? And then Lucifer creates light in the world, thinking everything is good, and to distract you from the Lord Jesus' true plan, okay? And it's not to desire the things of this world, right? Because the things of this world is just a material thing, and its materials are made up of basically condensed light, because it's just a condensed light particle. That's what matter is condensed matter, right? And light is matter. It is a particle. So it's just absorbing that stuff, all right? Anyways, folks, not to get too much into that kind of stuff, but the chessboard, okay, it has the four corners. It establishes the base, right? And Jesus is the cornerstone, all right? So Lucifer is the capstone, okay? And notice on the pyramid it has four sides, and the capstone is missing, okay? Because this capstone operates in the air. It is the prince of the power of the air. The prince, okay? Print means under the king, but it also means something you read, all right? And this is where you get your headlines, okay? Because these headlines try to hook men, the fish of the world, and it tries to control them with the headlines, okay? And that's where the head lion, all right? That's one of the corners of the earth, one of the four spirits that helps control the earth. Anyways, folks, all these things are there to show you, right? Now, let's go back to the pyramids real quick. The pyramids all around the world, okay? They're in strategic places. They line up with the sun perfectly. They line up with the moon. They line up with the stars, okay? Depending which one you're talking about, all right? Now, this is because, more than likely, okay, the pyramids and all these places like that, they were made by God or the Lord, okay? They were made on earth as a mirror of those things in heaven, right? Like the temple of heaven or whatever. That's why like the pyramid would look like a tent, right? And then you have the tent versus the box church in the Old Testament, right? And then Jesus goes to the temples, which is the box church. He calls them out. And then in end times, falling away, the box church are called out. And it just goes into a new age, okay? A new time of man. So these pyramids around the world, they're more than likely put and they're flattened on top or whatever for whatever reason, other than the smaller ones. The smaller ones seem to be kind of intact, right? Anyways, and they say that it was covered in gold up at the top. That's all symbolism, okay, folks? Anyways, so this capstone's removed. It's probably part of the energy grid system or the energy net that controls the earth and helps bring in the cycles of time and all these different things, okay? And then more than likely, that first man created in Genesis 1 lived up until the flood, and he was killed during the flood. And that one man helped make all the world corrupt and help bring in the culture and societies that we have today, because everybody just seems to mirror everyone else, okay, in some way, shape, or form. The mirror is what controls our society, okay? The mirror is, when you look in Genesis 1, there was darkness on the deep, and the face of God moved on the face of the waters, okay? So that face of the waters has a reflection. When you're out in nature, the only way you know what you look like is through the water, okay? Through a reflection. So it's through the mirror that society is controlled. And you want to either mirror trying to look good, or you want to mirror people you see, or mirror whatever, okay? You wouldn't have a clue about anything for the most part without the mirror, all right? You wouldn't know if your hair looked good. You wouldn't know if you had something in your teeth. You wouldn't know if you had booger in your nose. You wouldn't know anything, okay? You would only know from looking at other men, right? So without the mirror, okay, without the reflection on the water, we see men reflecting men, okay? If a man waves and learns how to wave, you learn how to wave, right? So, knowing that, you can see in Genesis 1 how that one man was made by God in his own image, and then that one man made the male and female after he them. Okay, so he made it after his own image as well. And like Genesis 1 and 2, if not the Old Testament or the whole Bible, it's got like a three sides to it, right? There's the light side, the dark side, and then the carnal side. And because you have the two-edged sword, the one side, they meet at the handle, the handle, and then they meet at the point or the tip, which is the pit, okay? So it's going from like heaven, the handle, to the pit of the tip, all right? And you're living along that two-edged sword, and it's separated. And as time goes through and the mystery of God is figured out, and end times ends and another time begins, then you get to that point on the sword, and that's where you're going now, is that pit, right? because it's all going to one point of time where all of our history, all the things that we read about and live about or whatever, they're all coming down to these certain few moments in time and end times, and it's all going to cusp in 2024 and 2025, and it's just going to break, and then it's going to shove us into a new time frame. Okay, and that's where your God takes man and he creates him in his own image, and that's where you have the Lord God taking the man from the or creating another man from the dust of the earth. Okay, so the mirror is what controls our society. And that's why they want to put education out there, so you get trained by the education. All right, the 54 Jew, which is the 45 mirror Jew, which is the dark Trump. All right. Anyways, folks, and then Biden is also the 54. He's a symbolic 54 for the mirror of the dark Trump coming. Okay. Anyways, so the chessboard, it's got its king, Jesus, the begotten, is playing himself on earth, okay? And it's got Lucifer with his son, Satan, okay? And he was cast to the ground, and Lucifer was cast down as lightning, okay? So they've got two different roles, and they're coming together as one, okay? And that's where you get the ground of electricity tying into the electricity on the phone and all these other things, right? Because he's coming back as the light bearer. He's coming back to control the world. That's why the whole world is going to a smart grid. It's why the gasoline cars are going, okay? It's all going by 2025. And then by that time, you'll see a merge in this new electricity stuff, or hydrogen, or whatever the next mode of Earth transport will be coming upon Earth, okay? And I imagine it's going to be brought through the alien technology or whatever. But anyways, everything's being gridded up now through the electricity, because the AI, the image that's given life, all right, is Lucifer incarnate, all right? And it is the beast that is and was and is not. And he is coming back to control the world in the beast system. And you're all going to be the beast, married to the beast system. And it's going down like that, folks, in a nutshell, all right? And we're all pawns being moved around. Some of us are the rooks, some of us are the bishops, and some of us are the knights, all right? And then each side has a queen, right? The bride of Christ is looking for his queen right now. And Jesus is looking for his bride. And Jesus' bride are the people who believe every single word of the Bible, who know who Jesus is, okay? It's not the church that suffered the falling away, who's suffering the physical light, or they're worshiping the physical light, all right? They're not worshiping the spiritual light, all right? Doing everything that tickles their ears, gives them vain jangles, all right? And then, so the true believers, the people that are taken up into the kingdom, that are caught up with the so-called rapture or whatever, the ones that are going to be missing, those would be the bride of Jesus, all right? Now, Don is looking for his bride, right? Who's his bride on the queen's side? The drags, because the dragon gives him his power, and the dragon is the men that are in drag, and the women in drag, and the trannies and stuff, okay? It's all going to this, folks, right? Once you're pushed into there, and the dragon and the queen, they all come together, right? They'll get full power for the dawn, and it's all going to cusp in 2024, because they're going to start, they brought them out of the closet, and now they're going to take them down, all right? It's all there. It's coming. Little horn is rising. Don't worry, folks.